Hi, I'm Scott Ruthven. Hey, follow along and I'm going to give you some tips that will help you be more successful in the field painting plein air. If you're totally new to plein air painting and you need more information about gear, I've got a great video. I'll link it at the end and it explains everything I use. The first step is planning your composition, and what better way to do that than with some thumbnail sketches. Today, after I've done my thumbnail, I'm even drawing the scene out on my panel, so I'm sure to get it right. All right, let's kick it off with the block in. Here what I'm trying to do is just get the identifiable big shapes, get the color right, the color temperature, the value right, and the drawing of that shape. Now I start to build my value relationships. This is critical. I gotta portray light here, and that means that the light side of this barn and the shadow side of the barn, well, their values have to relate to convey that light. Color temperature is also a big one too, but right now I'm looking for that difference in value and getting those relationships in value accurate. Now it's hard to get an accurate read on your values when your panel's in the sunlight, so I'm holding my arm up here to block the sun, put my panel in the shade a bit, just really to judge those values and make sure I've got them right. If you don't do that, and you paint in direct sunlight, you're going to find that your painting's too dark when you get back into the studio. Okay, I'm moving from shape to shape and I'm thinking about those color temperatures and the value of each one. You get these right in relationship to one another, your painting will just emerge from the canvas. Now don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're finding any value in this, hit that like button please. Thanks. Now every time there's a plane change, there's usually a value change. This plane of the roof here is angled a little bit more and it's lighter in value. I'm constantly checking the accuracy of my drawing. Here I'm using the angle of my brush, or my brush I should say, to check the angle of the roof on that barn and comparing it back to my painting. Now it's a windy day out here today, you're going to see that throughout, but don't let the wind stop you, just be prepared. One thing you can do is anchor your setup down with your backpack. Put some of your gear in a backpack and hang it from your tripod. That'll help weigh things down. If you don't have that, just don't turn your back on the wind. It'll get you every time. I like using my palette knife to get these nice straight edges every now and then. I'm putting in some details, but don't needle these. Don't spend too much time on the details at this point. I have to get these doorways and windows and stuff in, but I'm going to lay them in quickly, simply, and move on. And if you're wondering about the size of panel to paint when you're painting plein air, go with the smaller panel, but not too small. A little 5x7 sometimes can take you just as long to paint as, say, an 8x10. I prefer 8x10, 12x12, and 9x12s in the field. My scene today is this great little barn just outside of my town, and in case you're wondering, I'm not painting from prison. I'm actually on the right side of the fence. Using a big brush and some bold brush strokes and movement of my arm here, I'm laying in this foreground. You're going to be surprised if you watch to the end how much of this is exactly as I've left it right now. Now I'm just moving around, going piece by piece, filling in these little puzzle shapes until I get my picture complete. Now my mantra is to work on a section until it's 70% complete and then move on. Most of the time, 70% was 100% and I didn't need to do any more. This helps keep your painting loose. So remember, paint an area, paint a shape, whatever, get it 70% correct, and then move on. In case you're wondering, here's the color palette I'm using today. Heck, this is the palette I use most of the time for indoor and outdoor painting. Trees always take me a little bit extra time here. It's a back and forth with the sky. Just remember, you're looking for a variety of textures, brushwork, color. Make that tree interesting. I'm trying to paint as accurately as I can, but also fast. So another way to think about it, as Richard Schmidt would have said, paint as fast as you can accurately. All right, let's put in some sky holes. The trick with sky holes, don't put too many in and don't make them too bright. If you make them too bright, they'll pop out and they look like they're pasted on top of the tree rather than you seeing through the tree. As I paint these trees, it's a back and forth. Sometimes I'm painting the trees, sometimes I'm painting the sky, and I have to integrate those two. As a tip, when you're painting the sky color into the tree, keep that brush clean. You're going to pick up a little bit of that tree color, wipe it off the brush and keep going. But you want to keep that sky clean. You don't want to drag that tree color into the sky and muddy it all up. And sometimes you just get a little too much paint out there, and it's as easy as using your palette knife to scrape it off. And start again. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to get a finished painting in the field. Go out there and just tell yourself you're going to get some color notes or maybe a field sketch. Just have fun with it. You'll learn. Maybe you get a painting, maybe you don't. Take the pressure off. Oh boy, here comes a wind gust. Did I mention never trust the wind? Here's a bonus tip. If the wind kicks up a little sand into your painting, you can either use the end of your palette knife and just flick it out real quick, or you can let the painting dry and dig those out once it's dry. It's easy back in the studio. Most of the time you don't even notice in the surface. And if you do, well, it adds character to it. Heck, you did that painting on site. Be proud of that. ABC, always be composing. You know, this foreground, you can make your foreground a lot more interesting. Think about your brush strokes as gestural, compositional, movement lines, right? Bring your viewer in. So always think about composition. Make it interesting. Everybody wants to get down in the details. Be selective though. When you're refining your painting, only do the things that really matter, that tell your story, that reinforce your scene. You don't have to paint all the details. Be a poet rather than a reporter. I think this one's a keeper, so I'm going to sign it. I'll use the back of my brush here and just scratch my name right through the fresh paint. Well, that's my approach to plein air painting. I hope these tips helped you somewhat. If you're brand new to this and you need help with gear, just a reminder, I've got a great video. It's for free right here on YouTube. I'll link it at the end of this video.